All right, welcome everybody to the crossover live, August 22nd, 2025. Josh, how is it going?
It's going good. We don't have a show next week, fantasy football draft.
Nice.
So it's like
Good.
a pre-vacation.
Yeah, plus saves me a few hours from crossover stuff to focus on fantasy stuff. So
Have you started researching drafts stuff?
no, I listened to the Ringer Simmons and Cruz episode. Yeah.
Don't do that. They're like
No.
the eye test bros of fantasy football.
Bill has serious chunks of his fantasy strategy built around players who burned him.
Yeah.
And
Right.
we can't let our emotions get in the way here of winning the championship.
And they said don't draft Aaron Rodgers because he's weird. That was their words.
Well, I agree with that.
That's sound sports analytics advice right there.
Well, you don't want to have such a monster sitting on your fantasy roster all season long.
I listened to a couple other pods. That's the last place I go. It's Ringer for fantasy football.
Yeah. All right. Bill did congratulate himself on predicting several breakout players or something like that. So
He also drafted Brees Hall last year, so
nice. Didn't hear him mention that part.
he also gave himself credit for something else. You sent me that one, but he was like, I don't think I actually came up with this first, but I'm taking credit for it. He said that like 3 times.
Yeah, when he interviewed Spike Lee, I fell asleep listening to it. I heard it like in the middle of the night, and then I rewound it in the morning to make sure it was correct. He credits himself with creating the GOAT debate in basketball.
Do you think we would be nicer to him if he actually took the time to meet us that one day?
It wouldn't hurt.
It would not hurt. I feel slighted.
He just thought we were two bums. Well, maybe we are, but
Well, we're taller bums than he is.
all right, let's go. We've got some people hopping on the stream here. So we start the show with mail days. I think you might have a few, yeah?
Today's the day where you peak in mail days.
Yeah. But do you have any or no?
I have 3, but it's going to be sad compared to yours. I'll just go fast.
Okay.
Yep, I can't remember if I showed this one last week, but if I did, too bad.
Nice.
2020 Optic Gold Vinyl Michael Thomas. I think I might have. And then the 2 big pickups this week are 2009 Topps Chrome Superfractor rookie Percy Harvin.
Nice.
So this one doesn't fit into the All Pro of it, but I always liked him as a player, and that's his best card, so why not? And Justin Jefferson, 2024 Prism Black Finite PSA 9. So this is my first Jefferson Black Finite.
Is that your first 2024 Black Finite too?
No, I have the CD Lamb as well.
That's right. The Lamb too.
Yeah.
Yep. You're sneaking those in just in time.
I'm gonna dump them all once they have a big week 1. The sales will only last until halftime though, so be ready.
Taking offers until kickoff.
Then someone sends an offer in the first quarter when they score a touchdown. You're like, no, I told you.
Oh, well, those are awesome. 2024 Prism is really a nice looking set. 2012 Topps Chrome Superfractors are unbelievable, and every year of optical vinyl seems to look good.
Is this the last year of Prism football? I think it is, right?
The forthcoming one. So there's every reason to believe that there will be a 2025 Prism football too.
Okay.
Yeah, there should be one more. I would love if they stopped. Ruben, knock some heads around, man. Crack some skulls and get them to stop making Prism, and I wouldn't be mad about it. All right. Here goes my mail day segment. I had 2 really big trades that I did last week. I'm going to talk about one of them today because I have all of the cards from that trade in hand, so I can show them all. The other trade, I don't have all the cards in hand yet. So hopefully I'll have them all in hand next week, and I can do that one. Well, not next week, but the week after. The So we're taking off next Friday. But anyway, next crossover we'll have the other trade. All right, so here's the first trade. So if you look at Card Ladder's showcase feature, you can see my whole PC in there, and I always keep it quite up to date. And you'll notice that 2 of my most cherished, prized Michael Jordan cards have left, and I've also removed them from my Instagram profile too, which are the 1998 Rubies out of 50 PSA 7, and the 1998 Skybox Molten Metal Fusion Titanium out of 40 BGS 8.5. So the trade I'm about to show what I got back in exchange for the Molten Metal Fusion. So the Rubies trade, we'll talk about that in 2 weeks. The Molten Metal Fusion, here are the spoils. Here's my side of that trade. So I sent the Molten Metal Fusion out of 40 out, and here's what I took back. Here's the first card, and this is the big one that I was after. This is the 1997 Upper Deck Power Deck Audio white jersey 1 of 1 of Michael Jordan. And that card is it's Jordan's first insert 1 of 1. It's his first Upper Deck 1 of 1. It's from the first year of Michael Jordan 1 of 1s, which is 1997. And then I believe it's the first ever Upper Deck 1 of 1 period from any sport, any product. But I'm still verifying that. Okay.
Show the back. It's interesting.
The back side of this card is a CD. So Power Deck Audio is a concept that Upper Deck created that allowed them to embed audio content on the card. And then the card can be placed into this holder that then puts it into it. And then you put that holder into a CD-ROM, and then the CD-ROM will play the content of the card. Now, what's interesting about this, no one has ever heard what's on this card, and it's a 1 of 1. In order to play it, you had to pop out this little circle part here. Nobody's ever popped it out. So nobody has ever heard what's on this card, very similar to Martin Shkreli when he purchased the Wu-Tang album, and nobody was ever able to listen to it. Nobody knows what the audio of this card sounds like. It's never been heard. And there are 2 other versions of this card. There is a black jersey, which is unnumbered, and there is a red jersey, which is unnumbered. The red jersey is a bit more rare than the black jersey. So the black jersey is the most common, then the red jersey, and then there's this white jersey 1 of 1. So maybe one day we'll pop that thing out, and we'll hear what it says. Okay, and then quickly, here are the other results of that trade. The 1999, 2000 Upper Deck mystery pack 1 of a kind. This is a 23 card insert set from the Michael Jordan Master Collection. So there's 23 1 of 1s. Here's one of those 23. Got 2 more of these. These are very pretty. These are from 1999, 2000 Upper Deck flagship. These are inserts called A Higher Power. There's 12 Michael Jordan inserts in there, and so there's 12 total 1 of 1s, and I have 3 of them now. Here are 2 more Michael Jordan inserts from 1997-98. I'm sorry, from 1998-99 Upper Deck. These are the MJ23 insert set. This is a 30-card insert set. Here are 2 of the 30 Michael Jordan 1 of 1s. Really enjoy the image on this one for some reason. And then the final card in the haul is this, which is the 1998-99 Series 2 checklist, the gold 1 of 1 parallel. And I really enjoy this checklist because it lists the 230s on its back. So this checklist contains all the 230s, which are the cards that kicked off my my MJ 1 of 1 collecting. So that's a cool checklist to sort of pair up with the rest of those. So that's going to do it for my mail days. Thank you.
So you traded the Fusion for all of that?
I traded the Fusion for all of that. Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 1 of 1s?
Yep. 7 1 of 1s came back in that one.
Jeez.
Yes. All right. We got Christina. Any mail days on your side before we move along here? No?
Let the audio record show. I'm shaking my head no.
Unlike the Power Deck one of one, Christina has been heard from many times.
She's just in the wake of your one of one mayhem.
she has been. We've had some really fun road trips the last week picking those up.
I think you have the most Michael Jordan one of one cards in the world now. One.
I have 25 in that folder, and then I have 3 more in a different folder. So I think I have 28 right now. I think that's the grand total.
And you started like a week ago on this little project?
Yeah. The first one came in June, I think. Yeah.
You're very deliberate and intentional once you find something. This is crazy.
Yeah, my credit has been fully maxed, but here we are. All right. Let's get on to the questions. I thought the questions this week were terrible. No, I'm just kidding. The questions this week were awesome. Very, very good questions this week. So let's see how many we can get there. So first of all, from Bruin Killer, he says, "What is your level of FOMO for not attending the West Coast Card Show?"
Maxed out.
Yeah. Have you been watching much social content?
Yeah, a little bit. I really enjoyed that show when we went a couple years ago. The layout's very good for dealers. You don't have to like navigate around as much corporate. And it's just very free flowing up and down. It's very linear. That's one of my beefs with National is like I feel like I'm missing stuff because it's hard to like make sure you get everything, whereas this one looked very box-like.
One of the bits of feedback I've heard after the National, and obviously everybody loved the National, had an amazing time there, but I have heard from several people that the National was just a bit too corporate. It almost didn't even feel like a card show to them. It felt like a bit too conferencey. Have you heard that too?
Yeah, that was like one of our main talking points. And did you notice this West Coast show was less of that?
Seems that way. Certainly seems that way.
It just looks like a ton of rows of dealers.
Well, I think that like looking at the map for the West Coast Card Show is that they really prioritize dealers being in one space and they don't like break them up. So like there's no corporate area in the midst of the dealers. The corporates are all on the perimeter, and I think it works really well. And it then also has that like grid pattern that you're talking about, Josh. Like they're very intentional with the way they lay out their tables. With the National, it like reminds me of something that Chris and I often talk about though. Like when you guys are shitting on like it being too corporate, like we are a new corporate booth at the National, so we would be one of the first people that they would cut if they were like, "Oh, we'll get rid of some corporate." So let's cool it on that.
We're gonna blame you. You are the corporate shill. We are just the pure collectors.
That's fine. I'm the corporate shill. Yeah.
We have done nothing wrong. You have done everything wrong.
Yep. This
entire segment is an attack on you.
Yeah, so everyone who listens to this is literally how the two of them talk to me all the time. Like, this is your fault, Christina, because my ice cream is melting on my hand. Eat the fucking ice cream.
So we are part of the problem. But when has that ever stopped anybody from complaining?
Yeah. I want the Gibbs and I want to complain about it.
Exactly. Let's not change the standard just for ourselves here. All right.
No, I'm just saying, don't be hypocritical. We're taking we're benefiting from more corporate space at National. That's all I'm pointing out.
You may have a point.
Just a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, the corporate stuff's just too much.
All that said, corporate's too much.
It's just too much. All right. Anything else you want to say about the West Coast Card Show? Let's send a shout out to the question asker George, who is there today and surely raising hell and terrorizing people and causing chaos. There he is. All right, let's go on to the next question here. This is from Roundtree 13 Cards. Fantasy football is here. I'm thinking about punishments for last place. What are your thoughts on making a grown man do the trade-up challenge with every dealer at a 300-plus table card show? How would you tweak this, or is this stupid?
You should just make the loser buy everyone else in the league a Kaboom card. They'll just go broke.
Yeah, that would be a very expensive league to be a part of. I think that's a great penalty. If you had to like start with like a thumbtack and trade your way up to a Kobe exquisite emblems of endorsement.
And if you don't, you're kicked out of the league.
Yeah. Yep. You have to trade up. And you have to do it yourself. You can't bring in like your nephew or your son or something. Great idea there from Roundtree. All right, from Iowa Dave Sports Cards. As I write this question, it's been about an hour since I've been smashed a card that has not sold publicly since 2012. Since then, I've checked eBay about 20 times to see if the seller has shipped my card. Is this a rational reaction, or am I being ridiculous?
Even when you know you're going to get the notification when it's shipped, you still check the app just in case notifications are broken or something.
Yeah.
So no, that's very rational.
Yeah, that's totally normal. But, some people do like have a slower policy. We're just, they have jobs and they don't ship until Saturday, until Monday. I did see that Dave followed up and said that it did ship. Like it took a few hours.
Your job is to ship my card.
Well, what do you think about when sellers, like after you buy their card, if they send you a quick message like, hey, thanks for buying this, I'll ship this out tomorrow or something like that? What do you think about when they do that?
I'm shocked and amazed.
That's a good technique, right? Like as a seller, I think communication is the more communication, the better. You can always err on the side of being overly communicative.
Yes, it's always making the other side feel better when you update every step of the way. Take a picture of the card. Here's me putting in the box. Here's the label. Here's the tracking number in a single message. They can copy paste. Tell them when you're dropping it off, et cetera, et cetera.
What do you make of the fact that we haven't had occasion to do that little bit in a while?
Speak for yourself.
No, I mean, have you like on the show given that advice? I feel like it's been years.
Is that the top? Is that the top?
That's what I'm saying. Like these are top signals when we're giving advice on the best seller experience, how to provide the best experience as a seller.
I'm like going into my robotic. If the card is worth more than 5,000, FedEx, and you should look into insurance and make sure you hire an accountant.
Dude, we'll be doing Chipotle content and The Office real soon here.
Oh, yes.
All right, TJ is online. Anyone else notice recent high sales, new comps in particular, that actually end up showing up the cards themselves in dealers' physical or virtual display cases so that the dealer can make a quick flip? For example, I've seen this with 1984 Star 101 Michael Jordans in the grades of BGS 7.5 to 8.5, 1986 Fleer Michael Jordans, 1952 Topps Mantles, lots of pre-war baseball also. It would stink if those end up sitting in their display cases for months. Lots of cash to have tied up. And then I sort of asked TJ, I was just like, could you clarify? Because I'm not 100% sure if I understand what you're saying. I think I am. And he said that basically what he's talking about is when dealers and flippers set new highs or pay prices that are near new all-time highs to win these cards at auction. And then they're trying to charge 20 to 50% on top of that to collectors. And then he adds, it reminds him a little bit of the mid-2000s housing market.
Yeah, it's so painful to see someone bid the all-time high in a card and inflate the value just so they can flip it for even more to someone else who doesn't exist because you just paid the all-time high.
It's the thing that struck me most about this question was the era of cards that it's referring to. We've been dealing with this for years, like in ultra modern football, for example, or 90s inserts. But for it to be impacting 84 Star, 86 Fleer, 52 Topps, and pre-war, I haven't heard of it reaching those eras yet till now.
Yeah. The top.
Yeah, I mean, flippers are getting ambitious here and spreading their wings, reaching their tentacles into new categories.
I keep hearing people say, "Oh, we've got at least 6 more months of this." That's like someone telling you, "I need 6 more months to sell this stuff. Just everyone wait."
Right. All right, this one comes from Cardboard Insights. What percentage of collectors do you think take the time to research the cards that they collect? Whether that's diving deep into specific sets or learning a lot more about the players or historical significance versus mainly just relying on social media or popular opinion. Do you think collector taste is now increasingly being shaped by visibility, meaning that the cards most frequently seen or hyped on platforms like Instagram, rather than individuals exploring and discovering for themselves? To what extent are hobby tastes created by research proactively versus reactively created by simply absorbing what is most visible online?
Is this a joke?
What do you mean?
I mean, it's pretty obvious that a lot of people like follow the squirrel around the hobby, like whatever the squirrel is. And right now it's like kabooms and downtowns and uptowns.
Right. That's obviously a great example. Well, we'll
Five-
put a number on it. What percentage? How many people are very deliberate and proactively seek out the cards that they want to collect and discover and explore versus how many are just sort of passively taking in content and sort of just playing follow the leader?
So I'm going to say like probably like 20% are being deliberate, but only like 3% of that 20 is online. I think there's like a 17% quiet collector mentality where they're not online, they're not participating in like the rat race part. They like buy cards and they're deliberate and they know what they're looking for and they don't deviate from that collecting mentality of like, here's my checklist, here's what I want. And you might see them at shows, but like that's the only time you see them in the wild. They just like quietly pick up cards.
Yeah. So you're saying that they're not even there's more than it might seem, but if you look around social media, it just feels like a huge amount is just people following the trend.
Oh, for sure. Like the sheep are out, man.
What do you say, Josh? If you had to put a percentage on it, how many people are proactively seeking out cards and doing research and deep dives, and how many are just kind of saying, "Oh, this looks like it's the hot card. This is what's being promoted. I'm just kind of passively consuming this stuff, and I'm just gonna buy what it seems like is hot right now."
Given that you said research and deep dive, those two words, I'm gonna say like 5%. Because dude, people aren't even looking at pop reports, which is like
that's the
easiest
basic
thing.
Yeah,
that's the easiest one to look at. They're just like, this card's shiny, and I saw someone else talk about it.
Yeah. What percentage of the hobby, including new folks, including seasoned collectors, the whole pie, what percentage would you say know how to look up a population report?
A lot.
80?
Yeah, no, not 80. But I mean, the fact that we have it integrated into our app, like it's kind of hard to not see it.
Yeah, but let's say somebody couldn't use. Let's say somebody had to go to Google. They didn't have any subscription tools. They had to go to Google and just like say, I need to figure out what the population is of this card. How many what percentage of the hobby could do that?
Oh,
the firm says 33%.
I think
That's crazy.
I think that like all the younger kids can.
Let's not do ageism here.
Well, I'm going to do ageism. Like they could do their Google. Well, I don't know. Like, does ChatGPT answer pop report?
It could. I think it could. I would definitely.
So then
I would double check it, but it could get, at least get you pointed in the right direction. But look, I mean, if you can type it into ChatGPT, you can type it into Google. I don't think that this is something that's ungoogleable.
No. But I was just like, it might take like sometimes you type it into Google and you can't find it right away. Like you have to go to page
Let me put it.
2.
Let me try it this way. At what level of experience in the hobby did you know how to use a cert from a graded card and look up its population?
Maybe like 6 months in.
Christina?
I mean, it was probably pretty early, but I ripped wax when I first entered the hobby. So like I didn't have graded cards. So like when I started getting into graded cards, it was pretty immediate, but I didn't care about grades at first.
Okay. Josh, how long did it take you before you figured out how to search eBay's sold and completed listings to see completed results?
A couple weeks.
Yeah. Christina?
I'm pretty sure you taught me like the second time I was on eBay and you were like, hey dummy, look over here.
Yeah, I remember just seeing a tutorial on how to do that on Facebook in the early goings of browsing around card communities, and it felt quite complicated. You know, people had this big like one page thing that was like, first you have to open up eBay and then open up this thing along the side panel and then go down and check completed and sold. And I was just like, dude, this is hard.
Yeah. I just pictured my life just flashed before my eyes of like not being able to use card ladder and I have a headache.
Remember the days of watch count?
Yeah.
Dude, watch count was the shit. Like, let's
Watch
be
count.
honest though.
I just always remember being like, why is there other sites to tell me what this site sold it for?
Yeah, and I mean one of the databases from that time that I paid for, this was 6, 7, 8 years ago era, was WorthPoint. That
oh yeah, I remember that.
Very unceremoniously deleted its database years back now, and that database had a lot of great pictures on it.
They were the king of images.
Take a moment of silence for all of those images that are lost to the ether because WorthPoint went out.
Yeah.
And just deleted everything. So IRL cards in the chat is asking, what's watch count? So watch count.
Before watch count and after watch count. That's era.
That's like that's how you tell time in the hobby. Didn't Mark have a Sweat 47 have a story post about that, like where he said something recently and he was like, I don't remember what it was, but it was something to the effect of like I remember when, and I like responded and he just responded with like a grandma emoji at me.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically like pre-watch count. All right, anyway.
Did you say what watch count is? I've kind of trailed off there.
Oh, watch count was a website that you went to with your eBay listing to find out how many people were bidding on it, what the bids were, what the best offer was. Like,
can we set you to 1.5x or maybe 1.25?
What?
Can we set you to 1.5x? Or 1.25 maybe?
I know exactly what you're saying.
I just like, dude, my brain is firing, and I just reached for my phone to change the setting, and then I was like, nope, but this is live right now.
That's fucking funny. Do you want me to talk faster? Because I get I get like fucking messages like when I talk fast, and I'm like, and people are like, oh, can you slow down? Because sometimes you talk too fast. So if you would like me to talk at normal speed, I could totally do that from now on.
Yes.
Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Joshua. I will be talking at this speed for the rest of the show.
Thank you.
I do it to Chris on his podcast. Don't worry.
Thank you for explaining what watch count is as well. All right. Josh, do you have anything else you want to say on this topic?
30 minutes into your episodes, you're like, all right, that's the intro. Now let's start the show.
All right. I got warmed up.
Yeah.
Now the good stuff's coming.
Do you have a Dunkin' Donuts MJ yet? You probably haven't.
Can I just show your screen? Because you're just scrolling like crazy, and it's making me laugh a lot.
I just set sales history to 20K and above and sort by date.
Do that. Do this. Can you do this bit for the masses?
Well, let's just keep going on questions, and I'll just do it.
All right.
It's hilarious.
The next question is PLB Cards, who says, if all of the best cards in the world suddenly came up for auction, which one would sell for the most? And feel free to include cards that have never been seen.
Someone in the chat named them all.
Oh, really? Let me go.
Or not in the chat. Sorry, in that comment, there's a reply, and it was like all the ones I was thinking of.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I actually know exactly what you're talking about.
I think it was Bleeker. I think it was his account.
Yes. I know that some of the ones that he mentioned the 52 tops Mansell PSA 10.
Yep.
And okay, here we go. So Bleecker Street Card says, fun question. Still probably the PSA 8 Wagner or the 52 tops PSA 10 Mansell. But I wonder if the 99 Gem Masters Jordan or the Logo Man LeBron rookie autograph. Actually, that Gem Masters Jordan is a 98, sir, not to be technical. Or the Logo Man LeBron rookie autograph takes the cake.
The vertical,
right?
That hasn't been seen. I think that would sell for more.
Yeah.
I think those are the top ones. There's like chatter about the duel that's at 7 million or whatever as being like the best card ever, and it's like the fourth dual auto of those two guys, dual Logoman auto of those guys, and like the MJ auto is dark and LeBron's better than Kobe. It's not the best card ever. It's not even close.
What's it at right now?
7 million.
Yeah.
It feels like it's 7 million because it's at auction, not because it's like better than some other cards that would come out. And like it's the only one you can get at that level.
Right. Yeah, I think that's kind of what this question is getting at too. Like this question is my read of this question is it's almost suggesting if there are lots of other cards or several other cards that are better, then like let's not get swept away.
Right.
In the hype of this particular card, just because, like you were saying, this happens to be the biggest card available at the moment.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is the highest selling sports card of all time, the highest selling MJ card of all time, and it's like MJ's sixth best card at best.
Right. All right. Next question from PC with DPZ. Something that came to mind. I feel like the hobby is a better place and it's healthier when people are selling their cards only to buy other cards, not selling cards just to take profits.
Of course.
It speaks to a more mature market, but what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's just like math, dude. If you sell a card and take that money and buy a house, you're taking money out of the hobby. But if you sell and immediately spend that money on other cards, you're keeping it. It's like it's like hiring someone from overseas and they come to your country and then they send the money to their family back home. That doesn't help your economy.
No, and it displaces a native worker too.
Exactly. Same idea.
So, and the mature market part of this was interesting to me too, because here's kind of what I thought when I read mature market. It to me, the maturity comes from the fact that people are selling cards, but they're using the proceeds towards the end goal of getting other cards that they want. That in other words, that the maturity comes from the fact that owning the cards is the end goal. And an immature market to me might be one where people just transactionally own these items, but the purpose of owning them is just to speculate on them and take money out and then go buy a yacht or something.
Right.
So the maturity is reflected in the desire of the market participants to be in this particular market for this particular category of item and not just to run up prices in this category and then take all that money and put it somewhere else. Yeah,
this is the part where we give the speech about how, we don't tell other people what to do. It's your money. We're not in the business of saying you have to do X, Y, Z. This is just our opinion.
Absolutely. Okay. Let me bring my screen back up for a second.
Look at this one. Look at this card.
Is that the Morant? No, the Stefan Castle
for $45,000.
Let's see it. So this is Stefan Castle's vertical green Kaboom 1 of 1, $45,000.
Yeah.
Steal.
Sure.
All right. This next question, I need to bring my screen back up for a second because I need to show this.
Yeah, no problem.
So here's the question from WWE Gelman. Okay, I wasn't going to ask a question because I like hearing your answers to other people's questions over my own.
Facts.
But after hearing Drake's question last week and Josh's Instagram story, now I need a breakdown. Why do we need to separate collectors from true collectors? Every time I hear someone use the term true collectors unironically, I feel like they are the person at the party who only drinks microbrew IPAs instead of the beer everybody else drinks. This is obviously not to hate on Drake or Josh. We're cool. But this is my strike issue. And then he was referring to Josh, your epic rant today. And I just love how you continue to pepper the audiences with evidence of what prices look like in the hobby right now. So you have I have a screenshot here where you say my rant is over. Thank you for listening. In a vacuum, I could argue every single card is wildly overpriced. We're buying small pieces of cardboard. Who cares? Anytime a true collector overpays for a card that they really want of a player they like, I will defend them to the end of the earth. What do you think about what WWE Gelman had to say, questioning your use of the modifier true, the true collector instead of just collector?
Yes, he messaged me about this as well over DM.
Nice.
Well, I have to use the term true collector because now that term has been stolen from us to hide behind, an attempt to deceive people and trying to sell for higher prices or whatever their purpose is for calling themselves a collector. It's really, like you said it last week, it's really just like, and you said it again this week, is your goal to end up with more cards or to turn the cards into money ultimately? And that's just like the easiest distinction I can give. This, though, again, this is my opinion. This is in response to John Pack Nicholson, a collector, being attacked and made fun of. A lot of it was him like baiting it, which is part of his personality and his humor is like self-deprecating, and that's what made it fun. Yeah. But still, like, there's still like this undertone of like, you overpaid for this. Who would pay this for a Jay Cutler? And I took that as like, you think that was an overpay? Wait till I pepper you with 20 examples of way more ridiculous examples.
Dude, what was the most insane example? It was that like
the
random
gold one.
Yeah, the McCarthy, just like some gold McCarthy card.
Dude, that's an NT card, and it's like a gold prism. Have you ever even heard of that?
No, that was. Let me. Can you bring it up by perhaps? And you were showing all sorts of examples of cards over 12,000. You brought up some of those Marburys that were, credentials.
60 grand.
60 grand. You were showing like downtown white sparkles. just like stuff. Like, it is so amusing that like sort of outside of you calling it out and maybe a few others that the purchase of Stefan Castle Kaboom Green is just unchecked, but Lord forbid a Chicago Bears hardcore collector buys Jay Cutler's first Prism Black 1 of 1 for 12,000 or whatever.
And that's like, it's not a rookie card, so but I mean, it's like his most popular Panini card far and away,
Right.
And it's like it's an awesome set, and I don't get the hate.
Can I also just say, if you're drinking shitty beer, I'm not going to just drink shitty beer because you are a guy. Like that was such a stupid fucking comment. Like, just drink the beer everyone's drinking. Like, jump off the bridge because everyone's jumping off the bridge. I'll be with my feet on fucking land, okay? Thank you.
All right, here it is. Look at this card. You're on my screen. This is a National Treasures card. But it's like a gold
sticker too?
No, it's not a sticker. I probably said it was a sticker because I was just being an asshole in my stories and taking it to the max. It's not a sticker, but this is like a gold premium Prism National Treasures card. Like, what the fuck? What is this?
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that. Select will do things like this too, where it'll have like a patch autograph and it'll be...
This sold for $12,600. He's never played a game.
You said, I believe, to quote, he's taken as many snaps as you have.
That's a joke that's used by a lot of people. But so to answer to go back to the question, this is just my opinion. Like, and it's usually in response to someone else calling out a collector or saying something snark. And in response, it's like, yeah, sure, some of the stuff we're doing is silly, but it's all silly, like we're all just buying sports cards. We're in this like strange community that John even explains in the podcast. He's like having to explain to his mom why he bought this card, and he's like trying to explain Black Finite to her, and like only people like you and me and Christina and only people in this hobby have any idea what he's talking about, and that's what makes it so much fun. and we're in this like inner community working together, and then it's like, let's just shit on John for like turning some of his cards into a card that he enjoys more. Let's make fun of him for that. That makes sense.
Well, yeah, and like John, who is among the most earnest of collectors, who is coming from one of the more pure motivations that we have, which is he just wants cool cards of his favorite players. And of all the obnoxious sales results that have proliferated this year, that the New York Times, or well, specifically the Athletic subsidiary hosted by the New York Times, sort of designates his sale as the one to become the figurehead of this era, when we have JJ McCarthy. These are, or look, there's a bazillion. You pointed out lots of examples that, and it's just and it's like, that this color card is actually a card who was bought by a football card content creator, a demonstrable diehard Bears fan, a huge fan of the Prism Black Parallel. In a lot of ways, this is an apex card under his collecting philosophy. There's like a bazillion other sales to take a stab at, and it's one of the ironies of this hobby that he's the guy who's put on the defensive and must sort of absolve all of us of our ridiculous purchases because of this color.
Yeah, it's just lazy media. Like the media they think of everything from the lens of like how to make money and get clicks and stuff. They don't actually care about the industry or what possible explanation is there for these strange humans that gather at these shows with 100,000 people buying cards like this. Why would they do this? Only to make money. It must be, only to flip and make money. So you can't flip Jay Cutler. This is a stupid purchase. Why would you do this? You should be buying into the hype of JJ McCarthy. He's the next whatever, And
that's
it's like
so good.
So because of all of that, then I am within my right to stand up and say, we as true collectors are separating ourselves, and this is our explanation. So I felt the need to do that. It pissed me off,
Your comment right there just turned this into a social commentary on, or that reveals sort of the expectations, the unspoken, unconscious expectations that people have when they observe the hobby, which is, sure, people can recklessly spend on JJ McCarthy or Stefan Castle because sky's the limit. This is a flipping culture. People are just trying to buy these to sell them for more later. This is, nobody bats an eye at that. Like when the Joker and the Dark Knight's like, and nobody even cares. He's doing his little thing where like we're like, that's normal. When things that are expected and normal, nobody bats an eye.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
When somebody pays a bunch of money for Jay Cutler, how are you going to make money on that? How are you going to flip Jay Cutler? How are you going to sell the card before week 2 kickoff? He's retired. So that's what has rubbed people or caught people's attention. It's like, oh, this is a deviation. We're used to people spending stupid sums on things that they're trying to invest in flipping. People should not be spending this much on something that doesn't seem like an investable flip.
Yeah. That's exactly the Dark Knight comparison is absolutely perfect. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like they lose their mind. Yeah.
yeah. Exactly. That's so.
Well, I do think that's why the media called this one out, to answer your question. I don't think they randomly pick. They're just like picking on something that's like an older player who's no longer flippable.
What do you think this Cutler's worth?
I mean, I don't want to take too much credit, but I will, because I predicted 12 grand at National. I said it to John, I said it to you, I said it to a bunch of people. This thing's going to sell for 12 grand. It's the original set. I know all these Bears guys. I was staring at 4 of them that were competing for it right in front of me. Like, you guys are all going to bid a bunch on this thing. You all want it. It's going to go for like 12. I don't. What do I think it's worth now? What do you mean? Like,
I don't think 12 grand is a bad price.
Do you want me to show you some other? Like, I could convince myself it's worth 100. What do I know?
Dude, if you're a Chicago Bears collector and the quarterback is the most collectible position traditionally, and Jay Cutler's the best guy, like Pack broke this down. Maybe Sid Luckman has an argument, but Cutler has an argument for one of the best Bears quarterbacks ever. He delivered some great memories. He took the Bears to the NFC Championship and then was riding that bike on the sideline against the Packers as they smoked us. I'll always remember that game against the Titans when Peanut Tillman was punching out balls and we had like 42 points in the first quarter. I mean, look, there's dude, if it's 12 grand in a nutshell is crazy for for a card, like, which is the point you're making. But like, that card is not, that sale is not so out of step with the market that it merits the scorn and ridicule that it did.
What do you think the population of this card on my screen is? It's a 2016
Is that
Mario Pikachu.
Mario Pikachu?
It's
That
sold for
dude-
$16,000.
Iconic.
What do you think it's
Like-
worth?
Look
What's
at the
top?
combination. If there only there is a way to bring some Disney IP into this, like
That dude-
Shamu. Who owns Shamu IP? Could we
If
just have
someone-
SeaWorld.
or
if
what's
someone wants to argue with me about the Pokemon IP against the Chicago Bears IP, like, we could do that too if you want. Like, NFL breaks all the ratings records every year, so I don't want to hear that shit.
Mario, or as people from Christina's area of the country, Mario,
That
Mario and Luigi.
is not how we say. Oh my god, I can't stand Joe. That's not how we say it. We've
on,
had
guess.
this conversation.
Yes.
I'm gonna say 210.
Oh
the
my god,
population here.
that would be great. That would be rare.
Let's 10x that guess, like Michael Rubin did to the hobby. 2,000.
I think it's 2,000 something. 2,000. 1,990. Boom.
Nice.
That's crazy
And it sells for a lot.
for 16 grand.
This is insane.
Did you say 16 grand?
Yeah, dude, I don't know how many times I have to show you this order. Nope, until someone just makes me stop. I'll just keep doing it every week. That card is like number 10 all time in the entire hobby for market cap. And it was made in 2016.
Show us the buyer and we will demand explanation.
I will write a New York Times article about them. I told John, and I posted it, like, the fact that people in the American media are making fun of him just means he's doing something right.
Yeah,
Facts.
I like that.
You gotta fade the media.
Fade the media. All right, let's get to the next question. Oh, I want to say one more thing about Gelman's observation too. Just the whole idea of like having to put true in front of collector, which I thought you really explained nicely. And that's also, that has parallels in the hobby too, because like as soon as like these base sets started getting multiple 1-of-1 parallels, then like we decided that the true parallel, the true 1-of-1 is the one that was the longest running. So, that's how we distinguish in the hobby. Once something gets copycats, then we have to figure out what the true is. All right. From Perimeter Collectibles, whether you like it or not, all three of you are card hobby influencers. You have understandably taken the position to not call out specific individuals, as you have to keep the card lighter business in mind. Does this decision ever weigh on you, where you would like to call out bad actors more directly? Or do you think how you approach it is currently best for everyone? This is feisty. Oh,
You want a list? Like what? Like, do you want me to read my list? Like, I don't know what he's asking. I don't know how how clear we could be. Like, we do call out bad actors, and like we also call out people who make bad decisions, who aren't necessarily bad actors, but who do stupid shit. And like,
there's also there's an idea of fairness here, which is because we see one person acting badly, that doesn't mean that they were the only one. And so is it appropriate to call out and name individuals, or should the behavior be called out? And then in that way, it's generalizable to everybody. So if somebody is caught shilling or misleading or deceiving people for their own personal financial enrichment, there have been instances where that happened, and we did mention specific individuals on the show, but there's something to be said about the idea of just of describing the behavior in general so that it's applicable to everybody, because guess what? There are other people out there who are shilling and deceiving and manipulating right now that we don't know, and we don't have the ability to call them out, but the behavior itself is wrong. And look, I mean, the heart of this question is great, which is that calling out people, putting a spotlight on bad actors helps the innocent participants in this hobby, the well-intentioned participants of this hobby, figure out that maybe they should avoid these bad actors, and that's always good. And that definitely is something that, you know, you would love to be able to protect well-intentioned people from being harmed, exploited, and taken advantage of by the bad actors. People are also a little bit more complicated than just good and bad too. So you know, there's some level of empathy, sympathy for. There's a desire not to paint somebody with such a broad brush that they are only their worst act, and that you know, as a person myself who's made mistakes and done things that I regret, and I don't want to be painted as the worst version of myself either. So I think there's a lot of complicated topics there that are worth thinking about. And then there's also a practical element to this too, which is that some of these bad guys are really bad guys. And if you call them out or you make them an enemy of yours personally, they will go to great lengths to hurt you and to, you know, they will make up things about you. They will throw mud at you. They will spread nasty rumors about you. They will try to hurt your businesses. They will infiltrate your personal life. They will do nasty, awful things. And you know, should any content creator be expected to expose themselves to being harassed, intimidated, threatened, and possibly injured or hurt by these bad people for the sake of protecting the broader community? And I can see arguments on both sides of that. You know, obviously, there's certainly a desire to want to help the greater good, but just, you know, but by the same token, there's a lot of damage can happen for if you get entangled with some of these bad guys who are in this hobby, and they will come at you. So, all right, I've just said a ton of. Just to put a bow on it, I think it's a great question. I think it's a question that speaks to something that does weigh on me, and I do think about it a lot. As to what extent should individuals be called out? To what extent should it just be the behavior in general called out? To what extent should I expect myself to maybe open myself up to retaliation from bad actors? These are definitely things I think about. What do you, Josh? What do you say?
Christina has something to say. I can tell. Go
ahead, Christina.
I just want to say, like, that we have been in that position where we've said things or done things that have pissed people off, and everything Christopher just mentioned has come back at us because of it. And I mean, when entities offer you security to go to a card show because of threats, then, like, don't tell me I don't fucking call people out.
Yeah, fair. What do you say, Josh?
I don't know. I don't have anything to add. This is a good question for you, and I thought you answered it perfectly.
Yeah. Look, I mean, there definitely is a call out culture in the hobby that helps, and almost all the time before somebody gets called out, the person doing the calling out does a lot of research and they get it right. But there's no due process either. When people get called out in the hobby, it quickly evolves or devolves into the court of public opinion. And even the worst actor deserves due process. They deserve a chance to make their side fairly. So this is a very complicated issue, I think. But yeah, I mean, the thing that bothers me the most is if there is somebody who's doing bad out there and they haven't been called out and they're continuing to do bad and they're exploiting, taking advantage of, and hurting well-intentioned, decent people in the hobby. So it's tough, man. It's a tough question. It's a tough situation. All right. And then, you know, and then if you do start calling people out, like where do you stop? You know, like do you only call out the people that are obviously bad actors, or do you make it your job to investigate every corner of this hobby to make sure you're calling out everybody? Because then it would be quite arbitrary if the only bad actors that get called out are just the ones that just come across your vision. That if you do take it upon yourself to sort of dispense justice or to hand out you know, or to raise awareness about wrongdoing, that you should do it for all wrongdoers, not just the ones that you're aware of, but that you should go out and you should really make that a calling. So I don't know. There's a lot there, but we've seen what's happened previously with Watchdog Vigilante Justice in this hobby a few years ago too. It's just
Who watches the watchers?
right, exactly. So really, really provocative question. I really enjoyed that question. I thought that was a really thoughtful question. That I don't think the final verdict has been given on. It's something that I'll certainly think about a lot. All right, from Slabbed Legends. If this frothy hobby bubble burst, what sector will we see that bubble burst in first? Will it be, for example, retail wax or high-end modern singles or high-end vintage singles or hobby shop sales? What do you think? Where will this bubble burst first, Josh? I think I know what you're going to say, but yeah.
You do?
Kabooms and downtowns? I don't know.
No, I think it's Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that the population reports are just out of control, super high. There's no controlling the prices of that stuff. There's too many of them. I don't know. The Kaboom in downtown, like I don't really have a counter argument to like the repacks are going to keep the value at a floor of $1,000, and the repacks are gambling, and people love to gamble. I just don't have a good counter to that going away. Because the stuff I hear about Pokemon is like, oh, it's a great investment. People love it. It's people love the game, and it's just like pure collectors only buying this stuff. It's like even when they're selling for 15,000, the pop is 2,000. I don't think so.
Fair.
What you think it's Kaboom and stuff?
Well, I think there'll always be an appetite for that stuff, but not as strong as it is right now. I mean, how many times have we seen the highest profile Kaboom sales over the last month or two show up with dealers and flippers, and the intent there isn't to own that card forever; it's to turn it around. So at some point, I think the game of musical chairs stops. And or to bring in a different metaphor, at some point somebody ends up with the hot potato and they're unable to pass it. But it's not just that. I mean, I would say anything that has, or anything that's had a 4 to 10x or more in the last year or two is susceptible here to being in a bubble. So that's applicable to a lot of different cards. I think one thing though is that I don't think the bubble at all is lying with like a card like the 2018 Prism Base Luca PSA 10. The bubble certainly was with cards like that in 2020, 2021. And it's not with cards like that now. The bubble instead is with cards like, any other cards that sort of have had this 10xing or whatever that the cards like the Luca were having back in 2020, 21. Those are the ones I think that are most susceptible. So, but also I think the bubble's a bit smaller and more contained this time. So like I saw a nice series of posts from Cal Drago where he was pointing out that the category wide indexes on Card Ladder, whether it was basketball, football, hockey, racing, combat sports, or whatever we call that index, he was sort of showing all these different indexes, and he was like, look, like when we were in the bubble, back during the pandemic, like every one of these indexes was just running wild. And he was, and it was all these indexes were just like on this exponential slope, this exponential growth curve, and now that just isn't the case. Like, yeah, a lot of them have turned up and have turned into the green over the last 6 months to a year, but like none of these are running wild. Like, and if you look at the arc of all these indexes are still 50%, 30%, 40% of what they were at their peak. And I think the point that he was trying to make was that that the magnitude and the widespread, the ubiquity of the pricing bubble, it's not, that's not how it is right now. It's just concentrated pockets. Did you see those story posts, Josh?
No.
Okay.
It also might just be like the rare high end stuff that just keeps popping up over and over. Like it doesn't need to be the same card selling twice for people to get for the bubble to burst on something,
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I think that there's 3 areas that are susceptible to the bubble right now. I think you rightly pointed out mainstream Pokemon cards. I think the other area are cards that are the primary contents of repacks. And also to your point, just because it is a bubble doesn't necessarily mean it's bursting or it's bursting anytime soon. And then the third area is like the ultra high end. So, and I think those 3 areas are all slightly different. I think that there's just been this crazy momentum and growth in Pokemon that's unrelated to the other 2 areas. There's been this like surge of repacks as this new hobby business that's profitable and lucrative and that lots of people are jumping onto, and that's independent of the other 2 areas. And then there's been like a smaller influx of like high net worth individuals who have been spending big amounts in a handful of auctions recently. I think those 3 are actually not really related to each other. I think they're all happening at the same time, but I don't think they're interdependent. I think they're just kind of sort of happening coincidentally next to each other.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Vinny Slabarino says, always enjoy the show. Do you keep any stats on your collection other than maybe buy and sell prices? For me, I look at my collection as a card in and of itself and keep stats on things like average value of my cards, average holding period, average population. How much percentage of cards do I have from each era? What percentage of my cards are autographs? What percentage is unopened product, and so forth. I use these stats to try and keep my collection well-rounded, as I like lots of different things. I don't want to over-index on any one of them. I can also see these stats being useful for other purposes, like managing a card portfolio's risk profile. Thanks, Vinny.
That's fun stuff. These falls in the 5% of doing the deep research, Vinny. Nicely done.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. I like the sentiment, and then you put a bow on it.
I wish I put all the details into the notes for all the cards I ever bought. Like, I think you do that, and I wish I had done that from the beginning. But I could probably backfill most of them
for sure. WNBA Win says, why haven't we heard a peep about the $1 million plus Dallas card show heist? So every few months, somebody will check in on that. There's questions like,
this is the vintage thing.
There was a few.
No.
Remember, there was the hotel thing, which like with the auction house, that like we're still getting updates on that case because that involved an auction house, and like there's still some unresolved stuff, and people went to prison in that one. I think people got, if I remember right, people got some pretty serious prison sentences in that one.
Yeah.
But then this is something else. This is the Dallas card show heist. This is where a dealer who had, like you said, had vintage cards. And I think the display case maybe was estimated to be around $1 million to $2 million of cards that were stolen. And there was like maybe some video footage of the people who took them or something from the card show that got released to the public. So what do you say? I don't know. I just, people follow up every few months. They're like, what happened to this? Why don't we hear any more about this? Because it was definitely a big headline when it happened. And then, now it's fallen off the face of the earth.
No idea.
Yep, I don't know either, but in the spirit of Perimeter Collectibles question earlier, we can ask. We can put a spotlight on it and see if we can get any follow-up here. All right, Josh, how many more do you want to get to? Sorry, you're on mute. A couple more? Okay. Let's do a few more. This one from Social Stud 1. Do either of you get PC Superstar fatigue? I heavily collected Jordan almost exclusively for a while, but after amassing a pretty expansive mid-level collection, I reached a bit of a roadblock because the remaining cards I wanted to acquire were out of my price range. I consolidated to buy a handful of higher-end cards, but again felt stuck by pricing for most of his cards. In addition, his cards are nearly all readily available for a price, and Jordan cards seem to appear everywhere almost ad nauseum. I decided to sell most of them off and more heavily pursue my secondary PC like Deion Sanders, Frank Thomas, Paul Konerko, and Jason Witten. And Mark, baseball guys are going to, or I don't know, is he hockey or baseball? Do you know who this is? Mark Burrell?
No, of course not.
Sorry.
Mark Burley.
Mark Burley. I have found pursuing these players to be more fun and rewarding as they include a variety of rare and iconic late 90s cards as well as rare parallels and patch auto cards from the last 20 years or so. These cards are more challenging to track down as they don't come to market as often as the more mainstream superstars, and it has been more fun and affordable pursuing these players, allowing me to obtain a great combination of both quantity and quality. I know you guys collect superstars like Jordan, Luka, and LeBron, But do you sometimes find that collecting guys like Gurley, for example, is more fun and rewarding than superstars at times? Thanks.
Well, you're kind of disproving what I'm going to say, which is that I enjoy the non-superstars because I can get one-of-ones.
Yeah.
You found a way to get one-of-ones of superstars somehow, and nobody's really doing anything about it or noticing. They're just letting this happen. They're letting him do this.
He can't keep getting away with it.
Dude, that's exactly. I'm like, all you guys are just gonna let him get 30 of these and just watch it happen. You in 2 months, you guys are crazy.
Well, I certainly had my head in the sand for a long, long time, enjoying collecting one-of-ones of the Christian McCaffreys, Todd Gurley's of the world.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I enjoy that quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I like doing the multiple player thing right now. I'm super focused on that, and I was focused on all things LeBron for a long time, so it's kind of nice to have a change of pace.
Yeah, I think that this is an incredibly viable strategy. I think an understated point that was made here was that it can be really difficult to track down the best one-of-ones of these guys, and that adds to the reward of it all. And that the difficulty isn't that the price isn't why they're difficult to find. It's just because they're buried, and that you have to really go down a lot of rabbit holes to try and bring them out. And I personally would love a hobby that was a bit more equitable price-wise and a little less winner take all. I've always loved a hobby where sort of like the ranking of players' cards prices would more closely reflect how closely accomplished these players are. Like, you know, that the difference between Tom Brady to Peyton Manning to Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and Joe Montana is 8 total MVPs to 6 total MVPs to 5. You know, like these guys are close. But price wise, there's big gaps and spreads. So I've always like had this fantasy of a hobby market where, you know, prices were a lot more comparable and more equally distributed.
Yeah. If you force that somehow and then all the prices were exactly as you say, it would take like 2 days for it to get back to the way it is today.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Just like how there are some like parallels or products that just are like 10, 100x the rest, and so too for the very best or who is perceived to be the best or most desirable players. From 50 Zebra, are people putting too many of their eggs in one basket by using PSA?
PSA definitely has the highest prices. So like a lot of people are using BGS or SGC because the PSA, it is like pretty expensive to get your card slabbed by PSA, especially the expensive ones. But like PSA clearly has the stronghold on the market, so it's hard to say. What is the ratio these days of a PSA 10 to a BGS 9.5? Do you know?
I was actually thinking about maybe tomorrow night we would do a special crossover presentation, figuring out if the arbitrage opportunities from one grade to the next are worth taking advantage of.
And this is like asking, are we putting too much emphasis on Google searches versus Bing?
Nice. All right, let's just see if we can cram in one or two more here. Okay, 90s plus insert collector said, hey, I think I've heard you talk about Card Hobby, the marketplace, before. I would be curious to hear about what luck you've had using Card Hobby since it is overseas.
You had a more recent experience than I did. I've used it. I've bought 2 cards from there, and it was fine.
Yeah. I haven't personally used my own account to buy things on there, but I did have somebody buy a card on my behalf, a card funding entity purchased a card for me on my behalf from over there, and it worked out fine, and the card got here. But that sort of speaks to my confidence level and my own ability to get a card out of there that I had somebody else much more experienced do it for me. And let's just get to this one here. So I really enjoyed this username. I'm not sure how to pronounce it correctly. It's Latin, I think. Collegier est creare, which means, I think, to create is to collect is to create. That's what that means.
Nice.
They said there has been some chatter about the use of analytics, spreadsheets, etc., and how they don't have a place in the hobby, or at least that they are inferior to the emotional and spontaneous ways that we build our collections. I've found that I almost manufacture particular feelings about a card based on the outcomes of my research. For example, I can get excited about a card from a non-mainstream setter product, and when I find out that it checks all the boxes that I look for in a card, even if the initial eye appeal of the card doesn't appeal to most people. Hopefully that makes some sense. Love the show as always.
That's clearly never come from this show. That chatter.
Yeah. Yes. I just want to. I think that's a great statement of a collecting approach that can be extremely rewarding, and it goes back to a question we had earlier about doing deep dives, identifying significance, figuring out cards that check the boxes that you like, even if that card isn't mainstream or super popular. So, let's just call it here, I guess, that we've still got.
What does Drake want?
Drake would like to know the following. I got into collecting wrestling cards in 2019. I loved the 2014 and 2015 Topps Chrome sets, and then I loved the 2020 and 2021 Topps Chrome sets as well. I loved many of the Panini sets from 2022 through 2024. Now that the license has gone back to Topps, I find myself not liking the current product. Since I've either owned or own earlier cards from the sets I love, I find myself disengaged a bit. Have you ever faced something like this personally, and how did you remain engaged and active?
We're going to probably run up against this with...
Yes, we are.
Fanatics. Just collect the older stuff, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Dude,
you know what's amazing is that you can actually take a whole new perspective on older stuff. Like, I don't know, Michael Jordan one-of-ones could have been sitting under your nose for 10 years and you never even thought about them once, and then all of a sudden something clicks and you found this whole new lane.
We only collect one-of-ones at this point, the two of us, which is crazy, but we're super busy and very active in finding stuff, and the bull market is certainly helping some of these cards come out, and we're happy to snatch them up because they're one-of-ones and we don't really care. So highly recommend the one-of-one chases if you're bored.
Yeah. And just the discover, like there you can really like bring a new perspective to older stuff sometimes, like stuff that you thought you no longer wanted to collect. I love this from Brendan Ryan. He just goes, collect what they love as a play on collect what you love, which is really great. That kind of like sums up a huge theme.
Are we the they?
The they thems? Yes, we are.
Great.
Are you worried about this in basketball and football, or are you actually looking forward to it?
I'm worried that the first LeBron Superfractor is going to be like $1 million card, and I just won't even have a chance at it. So, I would love to have the returning LeBron Superfractor. That would be great. But like gold out of 50, I'm not even like a little bit interested.
Yeah. Yep.
It'll be a highly transacted flipper card that people get really excited about for a while, but there's just too many. Like, you're going to find out real quick what 50 looks like in the world of breaking versus what it looked like in the mid 2000s, you know? And like, it's going to literally feel like there's 5 times as many of them as Prism Gold, because there are.
Yeah. And plus the stuff from the mid 2000s has had 20 years to settle into collections and get put away.
Yeah.
In the era of breaking, all 50 copies or damn near are going to appear and get flipped over and over again until they get the chance to find their final resting places as well. I think there's a real opportunity for a perfect storm or a disaster, which would be total hyping of all these new products because all the breakers and the people distributing them want to be in the good graces of Fanatics and create a track record of them being very supportive of these products. So going to be reels, promotion, hyping, and then Fanatics and Topps are still going to be getting their footing. They're going to be debuting different types of new products, new configurations. They're going to be learning how these markets work, and that's going to take time, and I'm going to give them time and leeway and grace. But the combination of the hype and people going crazy and wanting to get these and, oh, these are the first of this, that, and the other, and these might actually turn out to be pretty subpar experiments. Some of these products will not stand the test of time, and people could really get smoked in that environment, I think, of hype and experimental products and finding footing.
Yep.
So I'm going to proceed very cautiously. And if some of the hype shifts off of some of my favorite Panini era cards and moves on to these new products, and then maybe I can grab some of that stuff at a lower price. All right, should we call it there?
I definitely don't want to answer that one you have highlighted. Go find something else, you guys. Get out of here.
Now I have to read it. The question is from A&W Collectibles. Says, please discuss the Antonio Brown 2012 Prism Gold sale. This went for like $3,000.
I wish.
2?
Closer to 5, dude.
5? Okay.
Yeah, let me find it.
Get the New York Times on the horn.
I'd rather not. We don't have it yet.
Okay. All right. So let's call it here. Thank you guys for great questions. Now is the portion of the show where we pick the title.
Taller bums. No one has heard what's on this card. The questions this week were terrible.
But they weren't.
Ungoogleable.
Yeah, I like that one.
That's a tongue twister.
I laughed at that.
That is a tongue twister.
How are you going to make money on that? No longer flippable.
That's the thing that you might hear the most in the hobby is that one.
Punching out balls.
Mm-hmm. That's Peanut Tillman. Let's not get it twisted.
Fade the media.
Always.
Hot potato. And collect what they love.
I do like collect what they love a lot. That's just got the right mix of the things that we think about. But we didn't come up with it.
I have the AB sale. It was the highest Antonio Brown sale publicly of all time by over 2x.
Nice.
How are they going to flip that?
I don't know.
Yeah, right.
They think they're going to flip it to me.
What was that? How are you going to make money on that? Yeah, exactly.
But what they don't know is I didn't bid on this because there's 9 too many of them.
Let's go. Even with that partial jersey color match, that mustard yellow.
The card is sick.
That card looks awesome.
Go collect quarterbacks, you bums. Get out of here. I say collect what they love.
Me too. Christina?
If I tried to veto it, would it even matter?
Which one do you like, Christina?
I actually like that one.
Damn it.
So I'm going to agree with you guys. Do you want to change your answer?
I wanted her to say one, and then I would say, that's nice. Collect what they love.
That's what it is. Collect what they love. All right. See you guys in 2 weeks if we decide to do another show.